Hello, everyone, and welcome to Christopher's Entertainment Blog. I am your host, Chris. Welcome to my 100% spoiler filled review of X Men Days of Future Past. Hello, everyone. Um, this movie, I gotta say, is truly, truly a great movie. Not just a great comic book movie, but a truly great movie overall. Uh, you know, X Men's had some hit and misses for the last few years. X Men 3 it wasn't that great. It wasn't that great at all. X Men Origins Wolverine was bad. It was bad. It's unfortunate. I want to like it. I really wanted to like it, but the whole thing with Deadpool and Sony's mouth shut and all that crap that they did with that totally ruined it. I like Taylor Kitsch in that movie as Gambit overall, but it's just overall what they did with it was just horrible. And then you go on to X Men First Class, which was a great movie. It was really good. I liked X Men First Class. It redeemed itself from the other two movies, and that was really good. And then we go into the Wolverine, which totally redeemed itself from Origins Wolverine. And I like the Wolverine. In the third act, though, it started to fall apart. When they're shooting the arrows into him, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, just cut the arrows and just go crazy and kill these dudes. So that was kind of strange. The third act fell apart, but overall, I really liked the Wolverine. I think one of the best end credit scenes in any superhero movie was at the end of the Wolverine when you've seen Magneto and Xavier, and they're recruiting the Wolverine for X-Men Days of Future Past. Basically, they're telling him a war is coming. That was a very awesome end credit scene. One of the best in any superhero movie. That was one of my favorites. Besides the Nick Fury going to each one of these, the Avengers Initiative, trying to get them together, and all the those Marvel movies. But this was one. This was my favorite one. Was at the end of the Wolverine. And overall, I liked the Wolverine. I really did. But then we go in to X-Men Days of Future Past, and it had let's see. And we have Bryan Singer, who is coming back to direct this movie like he did X-Men 1 and 2. He didn't direct the third one. And he's coming back. I know there was kind of a mixed review with what he did, with Superman Returns. That one was not the greatest. Although there's a lot of moments in Superman Returns I really do like. But him coming back for X-Men, it seems like he knows this world very good, because I like X-Men and X-Men 2. So, and the other director did First Class. I think it was Matthew Vaughn. I believe so. Yeah, Matthew Vaughn. Yeah, he directed First Class, and I thought he did a fantastic job. And I think everybody was wondering, why don't you just bring back Matthew Vaughn to do, Days of Future Past, because he did so well in First Class. But I didn't know what to think. I mean, I was like, well, Bryan Singer, he knows the world very good. He might do a very good job. So, and boy, did he ever! He knocked it out of the park with this movie. I think this is like one of the greatest movies he's ever made. For me, anyway. I mean, I know he's done some older ones, but this is the greatest one he's done since X2. And, I really, really enjoyed this movie a bundle. I've seen this movie twice now. I've seen it twice. And, man, I tell you, this is just a great time travel movie. And one of my favorite time travel movies that's fun is Back to the Future. I love Back to the Future, and this seems so much better. I don't know why. I mean, Back to the Future is still a classic for me, but man, I mean this time travel, the way they time travel in this was just awesome. How Kitty Pryde, she sends him his consciousness back in time into his younger body. into the 70s, which, usually it's like your real body going back in time, and then you have like two of the same person walking around. There's two. There's like a younger self and an older self. Like in Back to the Future or Time Cop or whatever, there's like two of them. But this is just like your consciousness going back in time, which was, hey, I've never really seen a movie do that. There might be one out there, I don't know, but I love how they did that, and how they're still in the future, holding, and she's like keeping him stable enough to send him back in time. And then you have stuff going in through the past, stuff going on in the future. It's just wow. It's just it really just boggles the mind. I mean, if you think about it, how they did that, it's just great. Um, and like, he sees Stryker in the past. He sees him, and he like freaks out, and like in the future he whips out his claws and like cuts Kitty Pryde, and like, and like, he's like, it's just crazy. It's just like he sees the young Stryker, and then has flashbacks of the old Stryker in the past, and then in the future where he's being held down by Kitty Pryde. Uh, you know, he freaks out. It's just, it's great. I love this movie. I really do. This is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made. It really is. I mean, I'm not going to say if it's better than The Dark Knight, because The Dark Knight is excellent. Is excellent. Definitely one of the better ones this year. I will say, I did see um, The Winter Soldier. I didn't do a review on it, but I did see it, and I like The Winter Soldier. But I really like The Winter Soldier. That whole espionage thing that they did. But this movie is a little bit better. It really is. It's like just a little bit better, for me. And I really had fun with this movie. I really, really had a lot of fun with this movie. And you have the scenes, like I said, in the future where you have Storm, you have Wolverine and Magneto, and then you have Xavier, and they all get off that plane. That was a great shot. I love that shot. And then, the whole futuristic thing going on. It's very dark, very grim, just everybody being killed by these Sentinels. And let me talk about the Sentinels real quick. The pictures that they showed of the old Sentinels before the movie came out, I mean, they looked terrible. I mean, a lot of the stuff they showed for this movie looked kind of bad. Quicksilver looked horrible. The Sentinels looked horrible. And then they had like the future Sentinels, and I'm like, well, they look like a Terminator. It's just like weird. But then when you see them in the movie, it works so well. It works so well, and everything that they did, the futuristic, the Sentinels are so scary. It's just like they are unstoppable, absolutely unstoppable. I mean, you see all these strong X-Men, all these mutants that are powerful. They have fire and ice and can control metals and, and make portals and just take everything. Just all these different mutants that can do just about anything, and they still cannot stop one of these Sentinels. That's how powerful they are. And I love how they incorporated everything's to do with Mystique. She's the one that can adapt and change into all these different mutants, and they use her DNA to make these Sentinels, the futuristic ones, and that's why they're so deadly, because they're from her. They're from Mystique, and it's like, I love how they did that. It's just, they're so scary. They're very, very scary, these Sentinels that can adapt to anything. I mean, they can adapt to anybody and anything, and they're unstoppable. Virtually unstoppable. I mean, you see how the devastation, how they were just killing everybody, and it's like nobody can stop them. So very cool, very cool. The older Sentinels, from like the 70s, were like kind of like a generic design. But that was probably what they would maybe look like in the 70s. They were not like the scary part. It was the futuristic Sentinels that were just so scary. I want to talk a little bit about the scene that probably stole a lot of the whole movie. The funniest part, I mean, everybody that was in the theater was laughing virtually at just this part. and that was the one with Quicksilver. Quicksilver, and they don't say Quicksilver in the movie. It's just Maximoff, you know. So, and I really thought that character looked horrible from the picture, and they had like the Carl's Jr. Like the TV spot, you know, that looked horrible. And then you know every picture, everybody was like, "Man, what have they done with Quicksilver? They've ruined him." Then when you see him in the movie, it works. I don't know what it is. It works. I mean, it works. It's just it's so fun, and then him just a blink of an eye, just boom, 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 you know. And that's the scene when he's breaking out Magneto, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, my mom knew a guy used to know a guy that could bend metal." I mean, you know, they're trying to hint that you know that's his son, I guess. So little Easter egg thing. Very funny. You know, when he duct tapes the security guard to the elevator, I thought was hilarious. I literally thought that was just hilarious, and the guy's in there, and he's just like nodding his head. I mean, it's just yeah, it's very funny. And then you know the whole scene, you know, where he's going around that kitchen, it just blink of an eye, and he's changing everyone's like feature to punch themselves, and just oh, so funny, so funny. And you know, then you go on, you know, with Wolverine. I mean, man, I mean, there's just so much about this movie. I mean, there's not really a negative about this movie. Maybe very little small negatives here and there for me. But you know, you go with Wolverine. I mean, he is just in shape, man. Hugh Jackman, man, is that guy in shape. And he's been doing this for what, 14, 15 years now, and he's going to keep going another 2, maybe 3. I mean, who knows? I mean, he could keep going on forever because he plays that character oh so well, oh so well. And you know, the scenes, you know, where he's like he gets back in time and he wakes up and those guys come in and they're ready to fight and he you know he like pulls out his claws and he's just like uh-oh, these are the bone claws. You know, because he doesn't really like them as much, you know. So it's just like oh, okay, you know, kind of, it's not as good as the metal ones, but you know, that was like the only real scene besides the end where he actually did any fighting. I mean, he was the one. I mean, usually he's the one raging and like killing people and you know, going nuts. But you know, in this one, he's like, "Whoa, buddy, you know, calm down. Let's you know," and trying to get Charles Xavier in the past to help out and that addiction that he had to that drug that you know and um, yeah, I mean he was like the calm in this movie. I mean normally he's the one everybody else is trying to calm down. But so that was a change for that character. You know, you have Xavier, you know, where you have Patrick Stewart, you know, in the past or in the future. You know, says, you know, I'm a different guy back then. You're gonna have to do something, you know, to try to convince me. And you see him in the past how just overall how um, you and you know you see James McAvoy, man oh man, what a performance he gave in this movie. I mean, just some of the scenes are just they you know make you teary eyed. I mean, just like he just you know he's just so scared. You know, you can see that in his performance. Such a great actor, James McAvoy, really great. And make Michael Fassbender as well. How those two are. I mean, before it was always Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, or Xavier and Magneto. Now it's McAvoy and Fassbender to me. In from this movie, it starts with those two now, and the performance they gave, absolutely wonderful, absolutely great. And the scene in the plane. I know I'm going 14 minutes now. This is a long review, guys, but this is a great movie. But the performance they gave in the plane, where he was like, you know, you abandoned me. You know, he's like, you know, you abandoned all of us, Charles. You abandoned all of us. You know, it was, you know, you could feel that, and he was just like bending the plane, and you're in midair, and you're like, whoa, don't piss off the guy who can bend metal, you know, and you can see that just that intensity there is, you know, man, very good, very great acting throughout this whole movie. Jennifer Lawrence now. Jennifer Lawrence was spectacular as well. I love Jennifer Lawrence. I love Jennifer Lawrence. She's a great actress. I love her in the Hunger Games movies as well. And man, she's just taken off with her career. It's just spectacular what she's been doing. And yeah, she's great as Mystique. In First Class, I thought, yeah, she's okay. Um, Overall, what she's been doing is just, you know, in this movie was just spectacular. What she did in First Class, you know, she was okay, but she was still learning the character, I think. And um, now she knows the character very well. And um, yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, she is that character now. I mean, she did it oh so well, and some great martial arts, a lot of fighting, from Mystique in this movie. It was mostly a lot about her. It was about Mystique, not so much Wolverine. Like maybe a lot of people thought it was going to be about Wolverine, but it turns out it's more about Mystique. Really, I mean, the Sentinels are from her. It's all about her and how she killed Peter Dinklage's character Trask. You know, and how that set things into motion. Of causing destruction and killing of the world, basically. Um, but Peter Dinklage as well. So another great actor, very great. I love him in Game of Thrones. He did. I thought very well in this movie. I mean, I just really think he's a great actor. He really is, and not one, because he's a small person. I didn't really care. I didn't care. I mean, I don't see why anybody would. I mean, he's just an great actor, and it's like they didn't go get the part was just like, oh, we're gonna pick Peter Dinklage just because he's small. No, it's because he was a great actor. That's why they picked him, not because he's smaller or anything. It's just he was a great actor. Yeah, and he did very well. Um, yeah, I mean, what else can I say? I mean, and the whole James McAvoy, finally getting up going back, going through Wolverine's mind, and you see the flashbacks of all the other X-Men movies as well. You see those, and basically seeing what Wolverine went through, and him going into the future and seeing his older self, and his older self convincing his younger self to come on, let's do it. You can do it. And yeah, that was awesome. Very cool. I mean, I probably could talk another, 10, 20 minutes about this movie. Just the whole, the destruction, when Michael Fassbender picks up the whole stadium and is carrying it around, and how he's manipulating the Sentinels, with the metal he put inside of them. It's just, a lot of destruction with that. It was awesome. Um, you know, I don't know. I really don't know what else to say. Real quick before I forget, though, the end credit scene, the scene with Apocalypse, the whole Egyptian thing going on, very cool. I know a lot of people probably don't understand it, and not even I probably understand it, but I, learned about it and because I don't, read comic books, but I love the comic book, the movies. I love the cartoons when I was a kid. So, but I don't know a lot about Apocalypse. Although I do know now is that he's the main villain for the X-Men. So, yeah, I mean, very cool scene. And you see in the background the four, horsemen of the apocalypse. In the scene, and I believe Apocalypse is like the strongest mutant to ever live. I think so. But yeah, and from what I understand, that's exactly how he would look back in ancient Egyptian times. What they showed, but then what I mean in the future, what is he like? This like huge dude. Very cool. That's going to be for the next movie, X-Men Apocalypse. So, yeah, I can't wait for that. Um, yeah, very cool scene. Very cool scene. Um, yeah. What else can I say about this movie? I loved it. I loved it. Well, negatives. I will say a few negatives. I think they could have showed a lot more Quicksilver, maybe. I mean, there's not a lot of negatives. I mean, I wish they would have showed more, but we're going to get him in Apocalypse. So, we'll see more of that Quicksilver again. Um, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what any other thing that could be a negative for me. I mean, it really wasn't a negative. I mean, the Richard Nixon guy, maybe. I don't know. I know that, I've heard of that one. Could have been a little better, maybe. For me, I loved it. Overall, I loved it, and there's not no negatives really much for me at all. Um, yeah. I want to hear what you guys have to say, though. Write down in the comments what you guys think of X-Men Days of Future Past. I'm going to give this movie a 4.5. 4.5 out of 5. Or, I'm going to give it a 9. 9.5. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a 10. I don't like to, give too many movies a 10. But, this was very good. And there could have been some things a little bit better, a little bit more fight scenes, a little bit, this and that. But overall, I love this movie. I really did. Very fun. I recommend everybody go see it. Yeah, I mean, also, before I forget, all the other characters, all the other little X-Men characters, like Blink and Warpath, I think, and, some of those other ones that, I know I'm forgetting in my head. That they didn't play a lot of like a huge role, but you still felt for those characters when they were dying. Storm, Halle Berry, she didn't have a big part really. But then when that Sentinel comes down and stabs her through the heart, you were like, damn. I sure hope they change the past, and then like at the very end, when everyone's dying, and then the Sentinels are in there, and then they have that beam coming out, it's just about ready to hit them, and they saved it just in time. That whole tension with Jennifer Lawrence, Mystique, and how she's ready to shoot Dinklage, Dinklage's character Trask, she's ready to shoot him, and she finally got it through her head. No, we're not gonna kill him, and I love that scene. Very cool. And also, I almost forgot when they changed the past, and Wolverine, the last thing he remembered was drowning, being thrown in there by Magneto. That was the last thing he remembered. Well, then he wakes up, he's in the school, and then we see Rogue. We didn't see we didn't see any of Anna Paquin. Her scenes were cut out, but that we did see her, like, that little scene, which was cool. And then we seen, Kitty Pryde and Colossus, together, which from what I hear, that's a big thing, in the comic book. So we see those two together. We see Storm, she's alive. The school's back, everything's working, and then what's he come up on? He comes up on, we see Famke Jensen, and how she's back. Jean Grey, he reset everything. How she was killed in the third movie. We see Cyclops. He comes in, he's ready to, touch her face. Like, whoa, whoa there, dude. What are you doing? I love that scene. Very cool how they were able to just take everything that they was crapped on in the third movie, and they reset it just like that. One move. one move. Boom. Everything's reset. All the continuity errors or whatever is reset. The story, those movies don't matter now. It's like, everybody was mad about what they did in the third movie, how they killed the, Cyclops and Jean Grey and Xavier and all that. Well, and now that's gone. Everything's reset. Very cool how they just did that just like that. No muss, no fuss. Very cool. I mean, and who knew that they were going to make a cameo? I mean, I did a video saying about James Marsden maybe being in the movie because he was in that photo shot, at the premiere. Who knew about Jean Grey? She kept that secret. I mean, that was awesome. How they kept that secret, and it was cool. And you just, man, you could talk on forever about this movie. This is one of my favorites of the year. Yeah, I'm going to say this is my favorite movie so far that I've seen of the year. X-Men Days of Future Past. I recommend everybody to go see it. And definitely the best X-Men. This is the best X-Men movie now for me. I really think it's the best, overall. Yeah, just so cool. So cool. I can't wait for Apocalypse now. I can't wait to see what they're going to do now with that. And, and what they plan on doing in the future, now with Channing Tatum as Gambit and the whole Apocalypse thing. Very cool. And now, because Quicksilver was so good in this movie, what's the Avengers going to do? What's Marvel going to do now with their Quicksilver? So, who knows? They're going to have to bring it now because they actually did really very fun in X-Men how they did Quicksilver. So, but hey, that's it for me, guys. 25-minute video. I know it's long, but man, I had to talk so much about this movie. It's so good. I love it. Let me know what you thought about this movie. Write in the comments what your feelings were about it. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Like and subscribe. Appreciate the support. Yeah, that's it for me, guys. I'm Chris for Christopher's Entertainment Blog. Thanks a lot, guys. Take it easy.